Ready to be hypnotized? Janet asked, holding up a charm shaped like a cross with a ruby in the center. This is your last chance to back out. Marco thought briefly, then smiled and nodded. Janet lifted the charm, and the store display glowed red. The spell's power was so intense that Marco's body responded, his skin taking on a glossy sheen. Despite his arousal, he remained immobile. You look wonderful, Janet said, walking over to touch Marco's skin. She kissed his lips gently. As the store's window dresser, I'll take great care of you. Janet removed Marco's clothes and posed him appropriately, feeling a thrill as she did so. She wondered what Marco could sense or feel. She dressed him in skin-tone panties that made his appearance more lifelike. You'll be the most realistic mannequin the boss has ever seen, Janet whispered, nuzzling his neck and giving soft kisses. You look so good, I could just devour you. Janet carried Marco out of the display area and through the store, making it appear as if she was moving a mannequin. Only she and Marco knew the truth. At the express elevator, Janet set Marco against the wall and said, I should call upstairs to ensure it's a good time. A child pointed at Marco, saying, Mommy, that woman has no clothes on. That's not a real person, dear, the mother said, smiling as she led her son away. Let's get you upstairs, Janet said, spotting the mother in the bedroom department. We don't want anyone damaging you before you're on display. Janet carried Marco into the elevator and pressed the button for the top floor. As the elevator ascended, she lightly caressed Marco's smooth skin. When the elevator doors opened, Janet carried Marco to the only room on the floor, where Mr. Wrinkles was at his desk. How do you like this model, sir? Janet asked. Yes, she does look realistic, Mr. Wrinkles said, examining Marco perhaps a bit too realistic. Insert a neutralizer so she appears less lifelike. We don't want to alarm the other window dressers. Excellent idea, Janet replied. She had a neutralizer ready and imagined how Marco would appear on display. I'll get it set up and place her in the front window. Heading down to the storeroom, Janet lifted her dress and pulled down her pantyhose and panties. She squeezed her legs together and inserted a toy. This should do the trick, she said with a smile as she slid the toy, coated with her own lubrication, into Marco. Marco felt the sensation of the toy inside him. I know you'll enjoy this. Satisfied, Janet pulled on a pair of tan pantyhose. The hair removal cream she had used on Marco would last for a month, and she had more if she wanted to extend the effect. She added a sleeveless mini dress and open-toe heels. Lifting Marco, she positioned him on a display rod. I know I made you a freestanding mannequin, but you'll find pleasure with this. Wheeling Marco through the store, Janet brought him to the display window. A cardboard cutout of a nightclub served as the backdrop. Marco was placed next to a standing male mannequin, with their limbs arranged to appear as if they were dancing. I've got an idea, Janet said, checking her watch. She pulled the curtain close to shield the display from view. Moving the male mannequin aside, she knelt and ran her hand over Marco's dress and pantyhose. Marco felt a rising heat inside him, though he remained unresponsive. Hearing the security guard locking up, Janet stood and took the male mannequin back to the storeroom. She undressed and disassembled him. Sorry, Keith, but Marco is all mine. Janet then undressed herself and chose a white blouse with a red vest and matching mini skirt from the mannequin clothing box. She completed the outfit with fire engine red heels. Looking hot, she said, admiring herself. In the mirror department, Janet held up her charm. As its hypnotic light reflected off the mirror, she set a timer to ensure she would reach the display window before the charm's effects took hold. Standing before Marco, Janet placed one hand on his shoulder and another on his lip to create the appearance of a close dance. As she began to feel heavy, she gave Marco one last kiss. I love you, she whispered before her body froze. The next morning, when the store opened, the curtain was pulled back to reveal the two female mannequins slow dancing together. After separating the mannequins, Janet replaced them with two male mannequins for them to dance with. Although separated, Marco and Janet could still glance at each other. An employee noticed a charm on the display floor and thought, I should put this in Lost and Found, before walking away. When Mr. Wrinkles arrived at work, he looked at the window display and smiled. Janet, you've outdone yourself, he said with a grin. I wonder why she didn't show me the mannequin that looks like her. Both will surely sell my products for years to come.